So next up on the list is this guy right here, this cool little Honda Element. This guy is here, took the train from Virginia. He's down on vacation, made this part of his whole vacation trip to have us put in his new radio. Been searching and searching, and he was like, I'm gonna be in Florida. I'm gonna go see Dean and Fernando and have him put in my radio. Okay, cool. Let's take a look inside. There's a few things we need to talk about on this car. So first up, this has the factory subwoofer in it. That's this guy right here. So we need to make sure we retain that. No steering wheel controls, so we don't have to worry about that. It also has the factory SiriusXM antenna. He wants to retain that. He wants to go with SiriusXM. If he can't retain that, then he doesn't want to do it. First thing we need to do is pull the back part apart so that I can see. I'm pretty sure I can plug into it with a SAT1, just need to check. We're also putting in a backup camera. Say hi, Fernando.
Hi, Fernando.
Never gets old. Fernando's gonna go ahead and get started on pulling the tailgate apart so he can get the backup camera going. I'm gonna go ahead and get this back panel apart because that's priority one, is to see if he can retain his SiriusXM. Then we'll get the dash apart. We're gonna put a nickel somewhere so that he can plug in for CarPlay. He's an iPhone guy. We're also gonna retain the factory aux. So we got a lot to do. We got some parts we're gonna talk about. So you guys, if you wanna do it with that subwoofer, you know which ones to get. But first things first, let's get that panel off back here in the back to get to the SiriusXM box. So we have the back of the car apart, the whole back of the car. That box right there, that's the XM box. And I say XM because it's not SiriusXM. It actually uses the old school XM diversified antenna. We don't have an adapter for that. We tried that on the Corvette, didn't work out so well. That's this guy right here. Now there's also a connection point up for it right here because it goes up to the factory antenna. Now the thought was maybe if we take this guy out, we could put a new SiriusXM antenna inside of here. That proved to be way more effort than it would actually be worth. Mainly because we'd have to cut the antenna to feed it through, and I didn't want to risk it not working or screwing up the FM antenna, which is right here. So we came up with an alternative. This area right here. This is for one of those cool luggage racks that you can add to the top of your car. Well, it also has enough space to tuck in the SiriusXM antenna. So we have a nice clear view of the sky, and it's hidden up underneath this panel, so you'll never know it's there. And then we can run it back and run it into the car. So that's the solution we came up with. Okay, so now I gotta go put everything back together, at least the parts that he's not gonna need disassembled for the backup camera. Because we still have to tap like the reverse light and all that stuff, and we're coming up this, well, you get the idea. So now that we have the SiriusXM straightened out, what we want to do is go ahead and get this radio out of the dash. And there again, there's just 4 clips holding this on. As you can see, it's a struggle sometimes because those are amazing clips. Alright, so we have the radio out of the dash. Now we're going to move over to the bench and talk about the parts we're going to use.
To install our backup camera, we're going to start first removing this panel and this panel also, so we can have access to the factory grommet. 3 screws, remove this panel.
Alright, so for this, he's getting the AVH 1330 NEX radio with CarPlay. The harness we're going to use, because he has that factory subwoofer, is the Metra 707863. And inside that, of course, you have your standard harness here, you have your subwoofer harness, and you have your auxiliary harness. Cool for that. For antenna, we're going to use the BAA28. This has a amplified antenna. It's going to need to be hooked up. And then for the dash kit, we're going to use the 957863. Now this has a replacement piece for the piece we just took out. I don't know if we're actually going to need that. Yeah, that'll look good. Probably not. Yeah, that's gonna look terrible. All right, well, let's get it built and figure it out. And then we're also gonna be putting in a USB DMA1 for his USB. Wow, that sets it in a whole bunch. All right, so changing plans on dash kits. This dash kit is just not going to work for the radio we're using because it sticks in it looks bad. Even though this is the dash kit that I absolutely loathe, this is the kit we're gonna use, the BKHONK 830. This is Honda's universal dash kit. However, it fits and looks a lot nicer. This kit, if you guys haven't seen me use this before, I don't know how many of these have shown. It comes with a huge owner's manual, but in the back here you find your car, and then you just break off all these tabs that it has on it to match up your radio. We're gonna go ahead and use this one because it's gonna look a lot nicer. So let's get started building this guy. Alright, so we have the kit on. We're going to go ahead and screw it in the dash and make sure this snaps in over it, much to my dismay, because I know these clips are a pain, but I want to make sure it fits first. So let's go back into the car and take a look. Oh yeah, that looks good. Oh, come on. Alright, so this looks really good. This is still a pain to take on and off, but we can get to the wiring now. All right, so the time has come for us to test the reverse trigger. Fernando's got his multimeter in the back. He's got the wire that he feels it is. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car on. Say when.
All right.
It is in reverse.
Yeah, we got 11.
All right, I'm gonna take it out of reverse.
Perfect.
So with this, it has the factory premium sound system, so it's just going to be RCA'd. And if you'd want to test that, what you'd do is you just take your remote turn-on wire, connect it to your yellow wire, plug this in, and then take your tone generator, or actually a lot of times you can just touch it with your fingers and you'll hear a little and that'll tell you that this is amplified indeed. We knew it was though because it has that factory subwoofer harness. This is just going to plug into the back of it. Now the cool thing about this is because it's an outboard subwoofer like this, you're still going to get subwoofer crossover and subwoofer volume control along with all the high pass crossovers. So this is almost like having an aftermarket 5-channel amp. So what we have to do now is to go get an aux to RCA adapter to plug into this, and then this is the backup camera. We're gonna integrate that into this, and then with this we'll just cap off all the speaker wires. So we have our sub RCA all taped up, ready to go. We added in our aux tip for our auxiliary, so we'll be able to retain that. And we have our harness all good to go here. Let's add a couple zip ties just to streamline it up a bit. And then over here we have our purple reverse camera that Fernando's wiring in from the back. We'll plug into that. All right, so we're almost ready to get this in the car.
Alright, so we have the radio. We're gonna plug everything in and test it.
Girl, your body good and your official ticket for Biden, we're willing to pay.
Where did you plug in the subwoofer? Where's the harness for the subwoofer?
What's
the I don't know, it's sitting on the seat. One wire. One taped up black wire. Hey, look at that.
How crazy is that?
What's the weather like today?
It's currently clear.
We'll save this till the very end because that's a pain.
Okay.
We good?
I think it's good.
Awesome. All right, this one is done. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, there we go. On to the next one, guys.